Hey, everybody, welcome on back. It's the Rubbin is Racing podcast with myself, Spider, Quigs, Jacob Ames behind the 1s and 2. You might know Jacob more as, is it called a Cream Boy? The Cream Club?
The Cream Team.
The Cream Team. It's
the Cream Team. Because Cream Boy sounds oddly like sexual, right?
Criminal in a sense, yeah.
Yeah, I'm sorry I did that to you, Jacob. I like you very much.
It's okay.
Yeah. This episode is brought to you by Body Armor. This summer, cool off with Body Armor Chill, a bold new way to hydrate with no artificial dyes, flavors, or sweeteners. Enjoy a new refreshing cooling sensation in 3 impossibly cold flavors. One of them would be frozen cherry, frozen berry, and frozen orange. Yes, and a frozen berry and the frozen cherry right here. It's available for a limited time only, so grab yours at a 7-Eleven store near you. And also, we're brought to you by Blue Chew. Guys, enter the room dick first. Blue Chew isn't just a tablet, it's a cheat code for your crotch. Stronger, harder, longer lasting, like someone gave your downstairs a pep talk and a gym membership. Blue Chew is the original brand offering chewable tablets for better sex. This ain't a supplement, it's an erection resurrection. Guys, this isn't just about performance, it's about legacy or third legacy. Give her group chat something to talk about. You know when you lay it down, they're talking about how it gets up. Nothing makes you more of a legend than a little Blue Chew. Discover your options at BlueChew.com. And we've got a special deal for our listeners. As always, get your first month of Blue Chew for free. Just use the promo code Rubbin at checkout and pay $5 for shipping. That's it. Join Blue Chew's mission to upgrade humanity one thrust at a time. Head to BlueChew.com for details and safety info. And thanks to Blue Chew for sponsoring this podcast. Guys, welcome back. How's everybody doing out there? Quigs, Spider, how are we feeling?
Fantastic.
We have Moonhead, who's on location today. We had him live in Chicago last week. So the 3 boys are running with it. I see that last week's race in Sonoma on the Jeff Gluck poll got a 61%. What was your takeaway from that race watching that thing?
I think that's pretty fair assessment. Obviously I was pulling for SVG and he ended up doing it. I gave you that pick on Rubbin is Racing last week, so credit me. But overall, I thought it was pretty maybe that's a little critical. I did think it was interesting to see like Chase Briscoe's performance. I was equally as impressed with him as I was SVG. I don't necessarily paint him as a road course non-oval driver. And he, I thought he would start P2 and then kind of move his way back throughout the race, and he really didn't. So, I was impressed.
I thought it was that's the score of a race that was really good that you kind of knew who was going to win the whole time. Like, I think that's where a lot of the people who probably said no on it was like, Shane was pretty much going to win that race the whole time. And there were a few moments that were good, but yeah, I think everything happening behind Shane was pretty entertaining, and it was a good race.
When I listened to the teardown this week, I listen to it every now and again, and at the end of that podcast, the host, both hosts have to give out a prediction on what they think the score is going to be, and their predictions were like 35 and 50 something, like much lower. And when they put out those 2 guesses, I was like, I didn't see that race being that bad. I didn't enjoy the race that much, but I'm kind of with you. I think 60 is probably the way to go there. It wasn't, and that's with obviously my Shane Van Gisbergen deep-seated hate and all that kind of shit didn't play into it, but it just wasn't that much. And to be quite honest with you, I have road fucking course fatigue. I want to go back to a fucking oval. So maybe that plays into it too. But 61 was about fair.
The in-season tournament definitely helped.
Definitely.
It's just one more thing to watch. And then, you have the whole Ty Dillon storyline brewing, and that was pretty exciting up until the finish. So I think that probably is a reason why it was a little bit higher than what those guys suggested.
And we have Ty Dillon on the show. Right. So we have Ty Dillon coming up. He was nice enough to carve out about 15 to 20 minutes with myself and Spider. So that's coming up in just a second. We'll see how he feels about what's happening so far, whether or not he's already spent the $1 million, and if he has any specific trash talk written down that he can throw at John Hunter Nemechek before they face off in Dover. I will say, and I know people say this all the time, the better race was Saturday watching SVG and Connor Zilic go at it. That's something that I think I could sit back and watch for fucking years to come. And after listening to SVG on, I think it was on a Sirius radio show, he was like, we bought the land in North Carolina. We're going to be here for a long time. Like you'd said that on the show. And so SVG versus Conor Zilic in the Cup Series on these type of road courses, then maybe the number is right. But for right now, I think there's too many fucking road courses. Let me start with that. Do you guys agree with me? I know it's huge. We're ripping through the NASCAR community, so this is no way anything that's just us. But I just don't need so many of these fucking things. I think 4 is probably the number. 6 is egregious. Is that crazy to say?
I personally would disagree.
Okay.
I think there's nothing like seeing these drivers tested on a whole bunch of different disciplines, whether it's a road course, street course, oval, super speedway, short track, etc., even dirt racing, which we've seen in years past. So to me, the driver that is overall the best should be one that, can prove themselves on all of their different offerings that NASCAR has. And sure, it's been cool watching SVG and even Zilish dominate on some of these non-ovals, but for me, I think right now that the fatigue with road courses is due to the rest of the field's lack of expertise on this. And I think eventually with time, you'll see all these other teams, drivers get better at it. And we speak to all these drivers. We've been lucky to have some great guests on. They all seem pretty fond and content with the road course racing. Which I think is good. And I think that the field needs to continue to kind of lean into it. It's taken us to cool places like Mexico City or Chicago. And I think it's essential that NASCAR keeps those efforts going. Right now, I think it's a little bit, like I said, the fatigue is because SVG just typically dusts the field. But once the field catches up, if they are even capable, I think that is when we will see road course racing at its prime.
Yeah.
You agree?
Yeah, I was gonna pretty much say what Spider said.
So you don't think cutting it back to 5 and maybe throwing in dirt then, Spider? Like, just road courses, ovals, super speedways, intermediate, short tracks and whatnot. I don't know. Maybe then you're right.
If the reasoning is like if part of the fatigue is from the fact that Shane and certain guys are so dominant that it kind of makes it boring, you almost can't take it away because it'd be like Steph Curry. It'd be like, oh, he's so dominant at shooting the 3. It's not fair. We're eliminating the 3-point line, or we're making it 2.5 points.
I think I tend to default to mentioning Shane with a lot of stuff. I don't even mean with him. I've said it multiple times on this show. The best trip that I'd gone on with NASCAR, it was Sonoma. It was the best trip, and it was also the worst race that I was ever at. It was stone cold boring, that fucking race from start to finish when we had gone out there. But I'm dying to go back to Sonoma for everything that was around it. So it's not even a Shane Van Gisbergen hate, which I don't really have. He was very, very nice coming on last week. Guy's a fucking gem. I don't know. I would rather see more oval racing. It appeals to me more. Maybe because I have a rookie palate.
The other thing though, Large, is like, sure, SVG can win 3, rattle them off real quick and just dominate the last kind of month and a half or whatever it's been. But like, and maybe I'm wrong. It's like he'll come back down to earth in the playoffs when, he's tested on an oval. So it's like these guys can still shine, but yet they're not like really they still have work to do if they're going to be the champion is my point. And I think that as long as both those things are true, then we're in a good spot.
Maybe a temporary solution is no back-to-back road courses.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I think that's fair.
There's few enough that none of them need to be like street race road course, anything like that. Like, put an oval to cleanse the palate, and
the road courses are essential just from a perspective of bringing new people to the track or getting them. The number one criticism I hear of someone that like writes off NASCAR is like, "Oh, would they turn left again?" You know what I mean? And like, this is just such an easy, fun, exciting, new, fresh way to kind of like hold the middle finger to those people. So I'm personally pro road course.
Yeah, I guess I got to come around on it a little bit. I'm being a little bit of a baby, maybe. The most impressive thing that I had ever seen from Shane Van Gisbergen was the 16-second dusting of the field in Mexico until this past weekend. I know that his pit strategy was to flip the stages. So in stage 1 with 3 laps to go, he'd pit, and then he came out and still finished P2. In stage 2 with 3 laps to go, I believe he went in and pitted also. He came out and then ran down Larson to win the stage. That that was like a sight to behold. I know people are like, well, he's been on those in supercars and they're similar to the Gen 7, and he's been on these type of courses. I was like, you got to take that car and break it down to molecules to see what the fuck's going on, and do the same thing with the driver. That was very, very impressive to me. Did you guys see that as you were watching that? You were kind of experiencing greatness.
Yeah, you're not supposed to be able to do that.
You can't, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You should not like flip the stage and also win it. Those are two separate things.
Like him getting past Larson there was crazy to me.
But he's just so good on old tires. Like when he has new tires, it's game over.
And even when they went into his pit box, the guy was like, whoever was interviewing his crew chief, he was like, yeah, well, it's Shane. He's just very good at doing this, so I expect him to do this. There's so much confidence in this guy's abilities, particularly here, that when he does get better at ovals, Jesus Christ, watch out, everybody else. And I also think with Connor Zilic coming up, I don't want to bury the lead on that kid either. I mean, Connor Zilic should find some time to carve out and go race some fucking supercars. I think that kid's that good that he could, start to do it even now. But with the victory, as people have been saying, Shane becomes the winningest international driver in NASCAR history. He's got 8 between Cup and Xfinity. His 3 straight road course wins from the pole tied Jeff Gordon for the most. That was back in 1999. And my only dig on Shane, because I always have to have one, is that kick into the crowd this weekend was fucking awful. He didn't make it past pit row. Honestly, it's like he handed the ball to a 12-year-old girl. He should be fucking embarrassed.
No, we can't. The kick was good. He must have been so far away because
that was an elephant's ass. It was high and stinky. If I hit that off a fucking tee box, you would have been laughing at me. That thing went fucking 100 yards in the air and about 10 yards fucking away from it.
It had some power on it, but bad launch angle. The burnout made up for that though.
Yeah, the burnout
was he was
cool.
High-fiving people while he was burning out.
Yeah. How about in the Saturday race when he passed Connor Zilic, he threw the thumbs up out the window. Like he's a different breed, man.
He is just fucking there. But you had mentioned at the start of the show, Briscoe looks good. So with his P2 this weekend, Briscoe has 7 top 5 finishes. Obviously, end of the win. That's his new personal best for a single season. What would have happened if Briscoe shipped SVG on one of those late race restarts? We had a couple of them, and you saw there was some banging. It was very respectful. But what happens if Briscoe's like, you know what? Fuck this. And he just shipped him and something. What do you think the repercussions would have been for Chase Briscoe?
You know what probably happens is, let's say he does it with 5 laps left. Shane comes from the back of the field and wins.
Yeah, that's true, too.
I think if this ever one, I would see like lightning would strike twice in the same spot before this would ever happen. Briscoe's the nicest guy. He doesn't drive like that. I think if this were to happen, he would immediately get on the mic and be like, I'm so sorry, hand up. Like, this one's on me. This won't happen. Lapse of judgment, something like that.
At some point, though, like, especially like kind of going back to when we were talking about if they should get rid of Suarez, whatever, when SVG and Zilic are on the same team, road courses are going to be unwinnable, and maybe the only way is if one of them is in the lead, you have to dump them, or else you can give Trackhouse 7 wins every year that are just locked in. It'll either be SVG or Zilic. Like and like putting the bumper to somebody on a road course is more of a strategy than like an oval. Like sometimes you got to do it. You
know who did it, and we're not talking about him. I don't know if you guys saw Josh Berry, Carson Hocevar.
We're going to talk about him a lot today. I'm telling you right now. Like I would tell you now, Spider, let's say we swap seats and it's Chase Briscoe not in the restart versus Shane Van Gisbergen. It's Josh Berry. And I've seen Josh wipe some guys out before. I believe he took out Shane at one point when Shane had ran one of these. I can't remember which race it was.
Actually, if my memory serves me correctly,
last year Chicago,
Briscoe did take out SVG.
Yeah, because I thanked him.
Yes,
I thanked him.
You did the Twitch show, and you were like doing the "Can you take Shane out for me?" blah blah, and then He did it.
Granted, that was not like with intent. That was
that's
accidental.
Chicago street course with wet roads. Everybody's taking everyone out. But
it seemed like the Hocevar thing with Josh Berry had some intent, and we'll get into it in a second. But put Josh Berry in that seat. You think Josh Berry takes? Is there anybody in the field who would have been lined up on one of the final restarts? And we did have a couple of opportunities to see Shane all of a sudden win these fucking restarts. So it's looking dire. Not as dire as it's going to look next year when it's Shane and Connor. I totally get it. But who would have fucking sent him? And why is that answer Austin Dillon? Like, who would have fucking just, because these people still need wins. Don't you think at some point this guy's going to get fucking put to the fence?
I think there's a couple. The first name that comes to mind is Ty Gibbs. I think Ty would move a guy for his first Cup career win, and honestly, I would welcome that. I would love to see that. Another one, honestly, is kind of his teammates. Ross Chastain seems like a dude that's aggressive, that if he knew that he wouldn't, take both him and his teammate out, I could see him moving a teammate for a win.
He did it this week. Not for a win. Did it with fucking Suarez.
That's the third guy I was going to mention, is Suarez. Do you think Suarez is like, fuck this Kiwi, I'm pushing his ass?
Oh, yeah.
Trackhouse is winning, but it's going to be at the wheel of me, not him.
That would be an awesome storyline.
That would be great.
If on that final restart, if it was P1 and P2, SVG and Suarez, the international front row, and Suarez just fucking sends him and takes home the checkered on this last year for him. That's why I didn't like the incident with Ross and Daniel, and nobody got fined for it. I totally understand that it's a racing incident or whatever they like to refer to it as. But I think Ross has got to be a little bit more hypersensitive to the guy they're fucking showing the door to. Like, I was angry at him, and I'm Team Daniel for some reason on most of these things. But I was like, wow, what a douche move. I looked at it again, and I know he kind of got sandwiched in between Logano and Ross, so there's a lot more shit going on. But Ross does seem like that guy. He seems like the dude who does not pay attention to who's in front of him, whether they're a teammate, whether they're driving the same manufacturer. He's more Team Ross than just about anybody else in the field. Is that unfair to say?
No, I would agree with that. I feel like you kind of, at some point you have to have that as a driver, not to the extent that Austin Dillon did at wherever that was, where he took those guys out. But it's a team sport, but at the end of the day, you have to put your own team first. And I think a lot of times guys are skeptical to make a move just out of concerns of, the criticism or the feedback they're going to get, when really it could be the difference of them making the playoffs or not.
What did you think about the whole Ty Gibbs thing? So Honestly, Gibbs has a little bit of, Rubbin and all that with Chris Buescher as he's going back to his pit box. His pit box is immediately above Brad Kay's, obviously also an RFK driver, and he cut it close with one of the pit crew members and hit the tire the guy was holding and, I don't know, did something to him. NASCAR said that it was totally okay, that Ty was within the realm of where he should be, and people are showing replays on the angle that he hit for other pit stops and said those angles were a lot deeper. He came in a lot more shallow this time, so maybe there was some intent, but it's impossible to prove if there was. What do you guys think about that?
Honestly, I was kind of confused watching this because, like you said, it was Chris Buescher and Ty Gibbs that got into it. So I didn't really understand why he was retaliating against Brad's team. Well, granted, they are teammates, but like Brad's pit box, that to me felt a little weird. Like, did Ty Gibbs just think that it was Brad K instead of Buescher? Did he think fuck RFK in general? But I tend to agree kind of with NASCAR. I don't think there was anything that malicious. If anything, I think it was a little overblown with the team's responses. I feel like every year that we've been doing this large, we've seen incidents on pit road where a guy gets bumped by a car. Like, pit road is meant to be chaos. I'm not justifying what happened, but I really don't think Ty Gibbs was like, oh, let me go down here and like scare his pit crew.
Yeah, you have to be a little bit of a maniac if like your plan is still like, I'm going to get this close to hitting just a pedestrian. Just
send a message. Yeah, I don't see that happening. The whole thing kind of, like I said, doesn't really make sense to me. Like, if Ty were upset, he should have just retaliated against Buescher in his car as opposed to like the pit crew. But I guess that's kind of why I don't think it was intentional by Ty Gibbs on pit road. Like I said, we see so much of this stuff happen all the time where there's close calls or people end up on the hood of a driver's car, something like that.
Right.
I think it's just par for the course. What I think was a little crazy, though, was the actual team's response. Like the fact that the pit crew guys need to be separated and it actually escalated to a point where there was like potentially going to be a fight during the race was kind of crazy. It's one thing if that happens after the race when guys are getting out of their car, they'll go and have a conversation. I just thought it was interesting to see the guys on pit road actually like take matters into their own hands. And again, I think that was probably a little bit of a rash reaction, but it made for excitement. So
yeah, I mean, it's like walk over the pitcher's mound, they immediately
no, you're
catcher
right.
just like snaps an action or something like that. But
you're right.
I will say I don't think it actually needs to be changed, but like the fact that was legal, and I think it is by all that. They may need like a tiny bit of a larger like factor of safety that like basically coming within an inch. And did he clip the tire of the guy? Or
I think he did.
If being able to hit the guy is within the legal like margins, maybe they take it like expand it a little bit so that it's
expand the pit boxes.
Yeah, because I think where the guy on the wheels was standing was legal. I think where Ty Gibbs came in was legal. I don't think those should overlap of like the space where you can stand and the space where a driver can drive.
And you're very rarely just standing there, even if it wasn't legal. You're not tiptoeing on one side of the line. You're there with like tires in your hand and jacks and all that stuff that makes you naturally bigger. You're right. Pit road is fucking dangerous as shit. I know that's not a newsflash to people who watch racing, but maybe they should try and widen that shit out a little bit.
It is that, like, you forget how fast 45 miles per hour is because it's so much slower than everything
that we
seeing. But 45 is a speedy road out there that like you would not want to get hit with a car.
Yeah. I would tell you, when you say 45 miles an hour, I saw this week the in-camera footage of Cody Ware going into the tire barrier in Chicago. Holy shit, he hit that going a million miles an hour if you look at in the in-camera thing. That was, and then Cody Ware, continues to not be a rabbit's foot. Daniel Trotta was on the call during the broadcast speaking about last week and him hitting the tires as his fucking tire popped off. And that was the only fine or disciplinary action that NASCAR handed down. They said 2 Rick Ware pit crew members, Marquill Robin Osborne and Daquan Hampton, have been suspended for the next 2 Cup Series races as a result because of the lost tire, which is, par for the course for them. But T's and P's to Cody Ware. He just needs to get a little bit of fucking good luck, even though his dad
was crazy. That in-car camera angle was crazy because I don't know, maybe I'm dumb for not knowing this. The way that the like steering column just like folded in on, did you see like his hands are here and then
I thought he was going to chop his fucking fingers off.
And the fucking wheel ended up like probably like 8 to 12 inches further away than where it was obviously before the contact, but just insane. I like to think that the cars are kind of designed to do that, like kind of crumple a little bit, but just insane seeing that that new angle that came out this past week.
And it was kind of insane seeing that tire this week in Sonoma just kind of going off on its own because, you're in a road course. I was wondering, is this thing going to pop up somewhere and go through someone's windshield?
I was going to say, I feel like the road course is probably one of the worst places for a wheel to come off too. Obviously, it's not good anywhere, but like Sonoma's got like, hills and valleys and elevation changes. That thing could have really chosen its own path. It looked like it almost hit Chase Elliott too, who ended up finishing, I think, 3rd. So it could have ended up ruining his day as well. But yeah, that's always super sketchy when the wheel comes off. Those things are massive. They're going super fast. I still go back to the Indy 500 one a couple of years ago when the thing got sent over the grandstand into the parking lot. Like
crazy.
Yeah, insane. So I'm glad no one was impacted.
And then Ty Dillon at the end of the race, towards the end of the race, moves Bowman out of the way to advance in the bracket challenge. And if people are arguing about whether the Josh Berry incident, whether Ty wanted to hit somebody in the pit box, whether Ross meant to spin then, nobody has a problem with what Ty Dillon did. Everyone was like, oh man, that's kind of fucking cool. And I think that's the magic of this bracket challenge. It does give us something to really appreciate beyond who's winning these races or beyond the top five. So, and we'll break that down with Ty Dillon when he's coming up in just a second. Our weekly Carson Hocevar segment. Carson Hocevar finished P32. Catherine Legg finished P31. A listener named Brandon, who I talked to before, sent in a stat from NASCAR on Reddit. Catherine Legg is finished ahead of Carson Hocevar in all 4 cup races she's qualified for.
Wow.
Just a little thing to put in your fucking quiver.
That's why Moonhead's not on today.
Yeah. And then Catherine Legg was talking a little bit of shit about Carson over a radio, saying what's he's doing. He's looking for someone to deck him. I think even I can take him. And she said this totally just joking around with her spotter, but I kind of like it. You know, at some point she doored Chase Elliott because I guess he was, racing her a little bit aggressively. I really don't care if Catherine Legg races again in the NASCAR Cup Series, but while she's here, at least she's, having maybe a little bit of fun with it. So, congrats to her. I guess I think she's doing double duty at Indy. She's going to do an Xfinity and the Cup Series at Indy, which is fine. We mentioned above Josh Berry hooked Carson Hocevar late in the race, and then Wood Brothers put out what I think is one of the most petty fucking responses to criticism about it when they said, trying to remember if we ever got wrecked for absolutely no reason by the 77, but I'm coming up empty. And they attached that time where Carson took out Harrison Burton under caution. Remember last season when he did that under yellow and everyone lost their fucking mind? So I don't know if Wood Brothers is trying to say, we told Josh Berry to internalize that pain, even though it wasn't him, it was the season before, and take it out on him at the end of the fucking Sonoma race.
Yeah, that's a little weird to me, the fact that it's like going back to a different driver from last year. There has to be something that transpired recently.
Has to be.
And I think I would say maybe one of my complaints with the coverage this week is that they showed us, Josh Berry spinning Hocevar, but there was really no context. So I was kind of like left thinking back, like, oh, did he recommend Atlanta? Like, when is this? What is his payback for?
How much of it is like just the communal, like,
fuck Carson Hocevar?
Carson Hocevar is a problem on the track, and we're all united against, like,
Dale just casually said, Josh Berry just hooked Carson Hocevar. Like he said that just kind of casually, and there was no follow-up to it because I think everyone was baffled why. If it was some of the other people that Carson has had some smoke with earlier this season, it might make some sense, but I think they just chalked it up to like, it's just Carson must have done something. It's kind of unfair for the kid, but to bring up, the whole idea of him stupidly taking out Harrison Burton under caution last season, I don't know if that's the fucking reasoning you want to put up. But either way, NASCAR has looked over it. We're taping this on Wednesday afternoon or Wednesday early evening, and NASCAR hasn't levied any kind of fines to Josh Berry or his team. So it seems like it's all water underneath the bridge. Last thing on Carson Hocevar, I listened to the interview he did with Dale Jr. Did you see any of this, Spider? Because you and Carson have kind of hung out, right? I mean, wouldn't you say you've hung out a little bit with him?
Yeah, I would say I'm like loosely hung out with him. I mean, there's definitely drivers in the field that I'm better with or closer with, but kind of befriending Carson the last year has been fun. We had a great time at Daytona. Every time I see him, we saw him at the Ride the Dente thing at Talladega. So he's always been pretty cool off the track, at least from my personal experience.
I watched him talking to Dale, and Dale's like, who's your best friend as a driver? And every other driver has an answer to that. And even if it's not another driver, they're like, oh, my pit crew member or, this or that. Carson Hocevar is like, nobody. I don't hang out with anyone. So Dale's like, there's not one guy, this is a quote, there's not one guy who races in trucks, Xfinity, or Cup that you'd call a friend. And Carson's like, nope, not one. I've only hung out one time with any other driver. It was SVG and Bubba at his property one time. It surprised me. It's a little bit. He's like, people that I knew before racing, I'm friendly with a lot of people on, the iRacing stuff he did. He did comment on, like, he didn't know why Berry took him out while he was on a Twitch stream, that whole deal. It does seem I don't know, yeah, sad a little bit, but just fucking weird because he seems like a very outgoing and relatively friendly guy with what little contact we've had with him.
I think he'd be on like in the top 5 guys of people I think I could be friends with, like realistically.
Would be
Right.
Hocevar.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I think like he seems like a normal dude aside, like off the track. I mean, I feel like we have a lot of the same interests. Obviously, racing. You know, he's on iRacing all the time.
He might just be a little bit of like a recluse.
He seems like a dude that just is like super hyper focused on racing and doesn't really pay mind to anything outside of that. And which, who can knock him? I mean, his job is to be a race car driver. So
It's kind of like a young Martin Truex, you know, like the type of dude where, hey, you guys want to go out for beers? And, oh yeah, I'll go. And Martin's like, fuck no, I'm just going to go home.
yeah,
I would tell you a follow-up story to that. And again, we like Carson Hocevar. We've had him on multiple times, done stuff with him in and on the track and outside the track. When I was in Mexico City, I stepped out of my hotel room in between bouts of shit myself, and all of a sudden some lanky guy in a black sweatshirt walks by with half a dozen Krispy Kreme donuts, just eating them. That's fucking Carson Hocevar, just walking around Mexico City. And that was part of the thing where he had that revelation that the place wasn't that shithole like he had mentioned, and he did the apologies to. He was just hanging out, eating donuts, walking around Mexico City by himself.
Yeah.
While inside I just had dinner with the table with Bubba, Chase Elliott, and Blaney. One table over from them was, Austin Dillon and Swan and the rest of the crew. Like, they're all cliquey. And then meanwhile, this crazy son of a bitch is just walking around Mexico City eating donuts. So maybe it shouldn't be that fucking surprising. But either way, I don't know. I think it makes him at least more interesting. I don't know if it makes him more likable. The bracket challenge update, NASCAR in-season challenge results. Ty Dillon beats Alec Bowman. Dillon was P17, Bowman was P19 after he shoved him to take out of the way in turn 11. John Hunter Nemechek defeats Eric Jones in the legacy head-to-head. John Hunter is P28 and Jones P29. And that's fucking tight, right?
It's the most legacy headline of all time.
they're gonna win
the battle for P28.
When I typed this, I thought about you, fucking Quigs, and how much of a douchebag you are.
I laughed when I saw it.
Yeah. What did you say,
battling
Spider?
heavy for 28th position.
Yeah. I didn't hear you, Spider. What'd you say?
I'm saying John Hunter's gonna win it all, and Quigs is just gonna have to eat his words.
Oh, that would be
also
so
real
great.
quick. Is it bad? Like, do you guys think it would be bad to have all this effort in this in-season tournament, and then like someone like Ty Dillon, a 32 seed, or John Hunter, who's a 28, 12? I guess he was a 12 seed, ends up winning it. Like,
I think that's the goal.
You think,
I think that's the best case.
Because
Yes.
I mean, I tend to agree, but I saw some people online being critical and like, oh, like we're doing all this celebration for a guy who's like top finishes,
I think it's worse if it's the opposite. I think if you do all this and you get these guys that maybe not, but I just kind of assume like the lower tier guys would want the money more, would need a win under the belt. I think it sucks if you do all this for like Tyler Reddick to win it.
Yeah.
Like where it's like these guys had the shot, they got to the Final Four, and then like
right.
a really great driver who's on paper the number 1 seed by far wins it.
I will tell you, if Ty Gibbs wins it, people I think would be more pissed off than
I would agree
if
with
Cinderella did, because it's like, oh, the rich got richer. I think Cinderella stories, unless NASCAR fans can find a way to ruin the Cinderella story narrative, which I don't put it past them, I think this is probably as good as they can expect. Choose different tracks next time maybe, or do the seating different. They can learn from some of the little inconsistencies.
And everyone in this has money. Everyone's well off.
Maybe it would be kind of cool though if like Ty Gibbs, I would love to speak to him. And I know I'm if you watch our Mexico City vlog, which is out now, we see him dead last in the kind of driver incentive ranking program. Which was interesting to me. Obviously, that's not a top priority of his right now, which is fine. But I would be curious to know if he just kind of more focused on stuff like an in-season tournament where he could win $1 million as opposed to maybe making money by way of the incentive program. Like if these guys are focused more on different, what are they prioritizing kind of?
Who would, if you had to choose anybody from the field that makes the most sense to you to win the $1 million? Who would it be? And like, even though I'm rooting for Ty Dillon, he wouldn't have been my first choice just because, I haven't followed Ty that closely. Who would be the guy, and you think that other people would kind of agree with you that you'd like to see him take home the $1 million?
So anyone just from this in-season
Anyone in
tournament?
the field, I don't think it would ever be Chase Elliott, the guy who's like, oh, is that tournament starting? And or like Joey, people would be like, Joey won another $1 million, or Kyle Larson won another $1 million, or Chris Bell after. It's one of those. Who's the guy?
I think there's a couple different answers. If we're talking about granted, again, all of his success did not come during the in-season tournament, but I think you would have to kind of tip your cap to a guy like Christopher Bell, who has won several times at different tracks this year. William Byron, same thing. They kind of proven their prowess across a bunch of different offerings. And then outside of that, and again, those guys have all found victory lane. They've had success on their own, and they are probably, again, two guys who don't need $1 million. They both race for two of the best teams. I personally would like to see it go to a guy like Carson Hocevar, who has kind of turned some heads this year and kind of came out of nowhere and, maybe not had the wins that we wanted, but has seemingly been in contention or way more competitive and fast than we kind of would have expected. And granted, again, that is a full season of work, not recently what we saw this week at Sonoma, because like you said, Catherine Legg beat him. What, he finished 31st?
Yeah, she smoked him. He was 32nd, Pete 32.
But those would be the guys. I think Byron and Bell have pretty diverse win portfolios. So in terms of deserving, probably one of those two. In terms of excitement, I think if Hocevar won,
would be good. Yeah.
When everyone was like, fuck this kid, and people are, spinning him on purpose and shit, that would have been a great storyline.
What do you think, Quigs?
I think Gragson. I think the likability, the level of racing he's at, where Gregson's a great driver, but he may go through his entire career and never really even be in that like championship 4 or something like that. But like, I think him winning something like this, getting $1 million, being young, probably not having infinite money yet, I think it would be cool for him.
I think that Gragson winning would probably be the best for NASCAR too.
Yeah.
Because they'd get a lot of juice out of it.
Yes.
The shit talking he would do with the samurai sword out, chopping the head off of John Hunter Nemechek in the 3rd round, whatever the hell it was.
Take a video on his bed with $1 million.
Yeah. That would be
doing
priceless.
Snow Angels and the money. Yeah. He would really promote it after winning.
I'd like to give it to like more of the work pale type guys that you think, you know what I mean? Maybe more, they seem like they're, not to steal from Big Cat and those guys, but like more gritty, like maybe like a Ryan Preece. I was
gonna say,
maybe Chris Buescher. Like, it seems
I don't
like,
think that would be the most exciting, but like a guy like Preece he's another guy that's kind of elevated and stepped up with this new opportunity he's been given this past year with RFK. So I think he would be, I'd be satisfied if that's how this thing shook out.
Yeah. Tyler Reddick defeats Ryan Preece. Reddick was P6. Preece was P12. And then Ty Gibbs, that was the biggest blowout. Ty Gibbs finished P7 and Zane Smith P27. So that sets up the semifinals at Dover. We got Ty Dillon versus John Hunter Nemechek, and then Tyler Reddick versus Ty Gibbs. So 3 ties. Also 3 Toyotas. Ty Dillon's the only one who's representing anything other than Toyotas, driving the Chevy. Yeah. So it's one of those things that I'm tuning into. I guess, here we go. What's the prediction? What's the prediction for this weekend for who wins those 2 head-to-heads, and then ultimately who wins after next week and wins the $1 million?
Yeah, I'm personally pulling for John Hunter, and that's only because we have him on the show next week. Yeah. And I would say I'm probably better friends or closer with him than a guy like Ty Dillon. I've been following John Hunter a little bit more closely, but on the other side, I think I'm going to take Ty Gibbs over Tyler Reddick. Ty Gibbs has an average finish position here of 11.5, whereas Tyler Reddick is 16. So I expect it to be pretty close between those two at Dover. I think a lot of it's going to come down to track position and qualifying. But give me John Hunter. Give me Ty Gibbs. I think
John Hunter, Ty Gibbs.
Tyler Reddick's, granted, this season has not been what we kind of expected it to be for him. I was hoping he'd be a little bit more successful. Ty Gibbs is a guy who's still searching for success. I mean, granted, he's had good finishing position, but maybe he gets an in-season tournament win before he gets his first Cup Series win. And as you alluded to, Large, I would love to see kind of the sports reaction to him winning. So I would like to see John Hunter and Ty Gibbs, and then ask me again next week who I'd want to see win it all.
Absolutely. Quigs.
As most things in life, I have the exact opposite opinion as Spider. I got Ty Dillon and Tyler Reddick. I think Reddick will be pretty easy. I think he's gonna just come out, probably get a definitely a top 10 finish, and then I don't know. Ty Dillon's just got some juice right now. I like him.
What about you, Large?
I like the idea of a Ty Dillon versus Ty Gibbs final. I like, because they can set that up.
I think that's the best possible final outcome you can have.
When we're thinking about finals and all that kind of stuff, with the NBA recently and whatnot, they were like Oklahoma and Indiana. We don't get New York and like that whole thing. I think the least juice would be Tyler Reddick versus John Hunter. I think. But I think the Ty Dillon versus Ty Gibbs, they'd be able to frame that as, the evil empire of Joe Gibbs Racing, even though both of these guys have very famous and very wealthy grandfathers, right? You know what I mean? It's kind of a Nepo Bowl, but I think just from the fact that he was a Cinderella in this one, that would be very, very
What track's that at?
Indianapolis. Dover, then Indy.
Dover, then Indy, yeah.
Did you guys happen to catch any of Tyler Reddick's post-race interview on the stream, on the broadcast?
No.
I didn't enjoy it.
I love the fact that, I feel like I've been critical of these TV partners, and then I've, given Amazon all the flowers for their ability to stay on after the race and get to the bottom of it with all these different drivers. Well, they did this week as well. And, we heard SVG, the winner, speak, but they also had Tyler Reddick come on. And I think Jamie McMurray was like, dude, are you upset? Like, you seem mad. Like, obviously he was upset. The whole thing was just kind of uncomfortable for me. And I think Reddick he was upset, rightfully so. But the whole thing was just kind of uncomfortable. But yeah, I thought that was interesting to see.
It's funny you say that, Spider, because I know that we have a lot of shtick here, particularly me. And it's going to happen when Ty Dillon comes on. I'm going to ask you about cheeseburgers, and I'm going to make some inappropriate remarks about John Hunter Nemechek. But that's kind of our thing. We're just not Barstool. They were talking a lot about like Ty's hair, and he was like, I just lost the fucking race. You know what I mean? And we just got our stool pushed in by SVG for the third time in 4 fucking weeks. I'm supposedly pretty good on road courses. It didn't really fit that. So I don't know if they're trying to get so loosey-goosey and away from the traditional, hey, look, and we're cool with drinking beer and shit like that. There's a balance that they need to maintain before it seems like a little hokey or kitschy, because the hokey and kitschy shit, that's my fucking lane.
Yeah,
fuck you
leave
guys,
that to us.
Yeah,
no, I don't think Jamie McMurray meant anything like.
No, certainly not.
I think it just came across as super uncomfortable. Really, is my takeaway. Obviously, they were trying to make conversation and probably just went about it the wrong way. Which I obviously hand up. I'm guilty of time and time before, but it was just a little weird.
Yeah, weird shit. One of the ideas that Ram has considered for its new NASCAR program is a reality show. Just drivers trying out for that ride. And UFC's Dana White confirmed he could get involved in the project if it comes to fruition. The brand recently debuted a TV commercial called Never Stop Being American, with Dana White doing the voiceover, and the Ram truck brand is formerly a UFC sponsor. I think this is a terrible fucking idea to have like an open tryout in a reality show. This is that exact kitsch fucking thing that I'm talking about. I don't think this will go over well with fans. I don't think it's something that I would necessarily rush to watch. Am I being just a grumpy old man, or does this seem like a good idea to anybody? And I don't think that Dana White, who, started in boxing, got ran out of Boston by Whitey Bulger, started the UFC, wildly successful, but he also has a small, reputation of not paying his fighters, like all this kind of stuff. I don't think Dana White's the guy to do this either, even though he's a huge talent or a huge personality. Well, how do you guys feel about a potential reality show to find out who's going to be in a Ram truck next season in the Truck Series?
I mean, I would probably tune in. I do agree. I think it seems a little like out of left field with Dana White, Ty, and I also think the Ram brand being a sponsor of UFC is kind of overvalued here, because if you look at UFC, I mean, there's just ads everywhere all over the mat. If we're sitting here talking about companies that Dana White has worked with before, we could probably talk for hours and hours and hours.
Right.
So, but I would be kind of interested to see. My concern would be if it's like truly a reality show and like there's one contestant that wins and ends up winning a ride and then has to drive in the fucking NASCAR Cup Series for 36 weeks. Like that would be kind of crazy to me. If it's a reality show of people that are like the Frankie Munizes of the world and kids that are already in the sport kind of trying to cut their teeth and make it to the next level, I would welcome that 100%. I would like to see more of these young kids or these up-and-comers trying to get to the highest level of the sport, because I feel like, you see these guys race on Fridays and Truck Series Saturdays, whenever it may be, Xfinity, and you don't really know a whole lot about them outside of the small little kind of fun facts you pick up during the broadcast. So I think this could be a cool opportunity to expose some new personalities, but the general idea of it, I'm a little bit skeptical of.
Yeah, because even if like Butterbean gets involved, you know what I mean? Like those guys, there are a lot of characters that they can bring up from lower series to go into the Truck Series. And then obviously a lot of guys who aren't happy in their trucks currently who might be able to compete in it also. But
could this all just be a work to get like someone like Cletus in the ride?
Yeah,
am I reaching? Be. I don't know.
No, you might not. Quigs, what were you about to say?
No, I don't want to not like it, but yeah, it seems like something that would happen that people wouldn't even be like mad about it. Just nobody would even like watch it, and I don't like Ram's gonna do it, and I'm guessing Dana White, they just want to get involved because it would be similar to what's the UFC, the Contender?
Yeah.
They had that Contender Series or whatever the fuck it was.
But it's just so much different, and somebody with a charter would have to be doing it, right? Like, I don't...
Yeah, they got to hash out a lot of stuff with this.
Right. Like, would the team... who's to say, like, some random reality star comes along who's not the best driver, and he ends up winning this contest somehow, and then now you have to field a car for him? Like, it could just go a lot of different ways.
I guess the way that would probably be done is Dana would buy a charter and probably have a full-time UFC car that runs the schemes of...
That could be cool,
whatever fight it is, and it'd be mostly on Friday, so the day before the fight, which that'd be a cool thing, but I don't know if this is how you...
I need more info on
get
this.
It dry.
Yeah, it's in its infancy. I think that there's probably too many moving parts, and then have a guy come in and be the reality show driver. I don't know.
And would it be for the
Truck
Cup
series?
Oh, Truck.
Yeah, it's only for Truck. Yeah.
Definitely not the... Wasn't Dana and the UFC involved in the E-car, like the E-series?
Yeah, so I believe they are.
That maybe?
But with Ram coming into the Truck series, it would be for that, from how I understood it.
Is Ram making an electric truck?
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know either.
Spider's our electric car guy.
I wouldn't be surprised if this is for the electric series.
For the E-series, I could see that being a little bit
getting guys into the E-series and trying to get their names out there.
Yeah, and then the viewing audience, you'd be able to skew more towards the Love Island viewing audience than the NASCAR one.
Half these guys have no... I mean, I hate to be a hater, but a lot of these guys struggle with the personality side of things to begin with. I'm very skeptical of how a reality show featuring them would be.
Yeah. I used to watch a show like this for the Cowboys.
Okay, like trying to get a starting position.
Yeah, not the cheerleading one, but they did one on like Spike way back in the day, where it was a reality show and one guy makes the team. And nothing ever came from it. Like, it was always a guy that would probably be a practice squad player or something. But
yeah, but even like making the band that P. Diddy used to do, whatever happened to P. Diddy guy? But it was one of those things like where that took off. But again, totally different audience. One of the things that's also all over the news in headlines is all the stuff that's going on with the charters with 2311 and Front Row. As of this moment, we're at 3:27 on Wednesday. They said by 5 o'clock, people will know whether or not these guys can retain their charters. And then, so the rumor mill about NASCAR selling the charters, which I don't believe they'd be able to do. All this stuff is unclear, but it's gotten to the point where it's like Tyler Reddick's contract expressly states that if he doesn't have a charter to race with, he can switch to a team that has one, which means Tyler Reddick could enter the free agency market if this thing. There is so many things. You think there's a lot of moving parts in the rumor that they're going to have a Ram reality series? I can't get my head around the legality of what's going on. So are you guys okay with just kind of taking a step back and waiting for it to fucking give us a definitive headline, right?
That's what I've been doing this whole time.
So,
right.
Like you said, you ever it's one of those things where there's so many moving parts, and I'm just, from the beginning, I've been like, I don't know what the fuck's going on here. I don't really have that much interest, and just by not paying attention, nothing's actually happened. Like, I'm sure there's behind the scenes, but it's been a news story for almost like a year now, and nothing has actually happened. So I'm just going to keep not looking at it, and nothing will probably happen.
I agree with Quigs. I'm kind of waiting for the dust to settle. Now, that being said, I kind of think that the TV show idea that we were just discussing should parlay with all these court cases we're hearing about. I'd watch that. Let's hire like Judge Judy to come in and just fucking settle everything. Tell me what's going on. Explain it in like layman terms, and she just makes a decision on what's going to happen.
Yeah, and then Tyler
I would watch.
Tyler can compete with Dana White, and he could drive the Ram truck next season in the Truck Series. But
yeah, I don't know how I thought that was going to be in the Cup Series. We're talking about Ram. They don't. I mean, that was dumb.
Yes,
so
it'd have to be Truck or maybe E Series if the stuff lines up. I don't even know if that's realistic, but
we're already hearing people. Well, where should Tyler Reddick land? When the charter is taken away from 2311, and it is kind of interesting to speculate about. But to Quiggs's point, there's as much ado about nothing until something happens, and nothing's really happened just yet. So we'll stay away from it. Go ahead. You saying something?
Yeah, I just tend to agree with you, Large. I know that the storyline that's getting a lot of buzz recently on Twitter is that, they could lose their charters, and then there's been discussion that NASCAR would immediately look to sell those charters. But I tend to agree with you. Like, I don't think they would be able to sell them immediately to, some of these teams who want to add a third car or expand if they're still in the process of being, litigation and everything. So.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to buy somebody else's car if they didn't agree. My first car was 73 Buick Electra. I bought it from an 80-year-old woman with Alzheimer's, and she used to report it stolen every week after I bought it from her. And so this is similar to that, right? Like if you're selling a charter that you're not sure if you have back, and then let's say they win the case, and you have to then go to Rick Ware and say, oh, by the way, did you keep your receipt? Here's your fucking money back, and let's go.
Like, let's say hypothetically, NASCAR actually does this, and they take back the charters. Let's say they sell the front row, like they take a front row charter and sell it. Like, let's say Team Penske or I don't know, a Trackhouse buys it. Is the rest of the field going to look at those teams that bought that and be like, "You piece of shit, dude"?
Yeah, right. Yeah, and
I mean, then it'd just be another legal battle because Penske would be like, "We attain this legally through you. You can't just take it back now that you're getting sued. We're suing you for
it's just so messy.
Yeah, it's fucking crazy. So we're going to give it a little bit of breathing room and then comment when it seems like the right time. So we'll put a bow on this weekend and give you an introduction to what's going on next weekend by talking with the man of the hour, right? Ty Dillon. If you're going to speak to anybody this week, it's got to be Ty Dillon. We're going to go 3-ride with Ty Dillon right now. Hey, everybody. So as promised, we have Ty Dillon in the motherfucking house. He wheels a number 10 Chevy for a call at Grayson, but you probably know him from the 2019 smash hit Stuber, which was lighting up Hollywood for a little bit. I like to throw that in there every now and again. Ty, how you doing, buddy?
I'm doing good, man. I had a similar cut on my hair compared to you. Then I had it all buzzed off for that.
That's right.
For that opportunity. But no, yeah, I'm glad people are starting to know me as a race car driver from my big hit role from Stuber. And man, I'm glad to be on here with you guys.
Is it true that you're in your car now because you're pricing out other $1 million cars because you're so fucking confident that you're going to get the check for $1 million in a couple of weeks?
Yeah, for sure. I'm eyeing up that new Chevy Corvette, that ZL1. That thing is pretty sweet. That would be nice at the house. So I think I can fit all three of my kids in there and my wife. So we'll figure it out.
Good for you, man. Spider, what you got?
What's been your take on the in-season tournament? Obviously implemented this year. I feel like all eyes have been on you week after week as you dethrone some of the NASCAR legends, whether it be Denny Hamlin, Brad Kay, Alex Bowman. What was your thoughts originally when this was introduced, and how do you feel about it now? Obviously, kind of in a good spot to maybe capitalize.
Yeah, for me, when it all came out, I didn't realize kind of the impact it would have, but kind of being one of the big storylines coming into this thing, it's made a huge difference. I think if you look at it across the board, at this point in the season, you're usually talking about your top 5 in points and top 5 on track each week, and it's so focused on the playoffs. But there's still shit happening throughout the race, and there's people with important storylines like ourselves that we're grinding for stuff for our team, and this has given a team like us a little bit of shine in the middle of the season to show people what we're capable of. And in our sport, there's about 24, 25 teams that are key partner teams. And those are teams that get direct funding from their manufacturer. We are not one of those teams. So when we go out and we knock off these guys, a lot of times it doesn't get any recognition, but we do it every week. We knock a couple of them out every single week. And this tournament has given the opportunity to kind of highlight that and give us the opportunity as a team and as a person to show our personality, which kind of gets swept under the rug when you're only focusing on the top guys. And so I think in all, that's what's been the biggest success, is it's showing a little bit more of what racing and the depth of our sport is.
And all three of those guys that I mentioned, whether it be Denny, Brad, Kay, Bowman, they're all, probably getting that funding you mentioned from the manufacturers as big teams. Is there someone that you would be matched up against in a head-to-head that you're like, damn, this is worst case scenario, or I do not want to go head-to-head versus this guy? I feel like you've already dethroned them all. So is there anyone left, or even outside of the guys, maybe someone that's already been eliminated that would have been a nightmare matchup for you?
I mean, looking at Denny the first round, and I knew Atlanta was probably an opportunity for a little bit of chaos, but he had just won a race. Like, he was the most on fire. He's probably one of the leading favorites to win the championship at the end of the year, and just a really consistent, solid driver. Like, that was the biggest mountain to climb, in my opinion. And then even Alex Bowman at the road courses, if you look at his stats, he's been incredibly consistent. And I knew he was a guy that wasn't going to make any big mistakes to take himself out. But, he ended up falling right in front of us, and our paths met at the right time to where I was able to take advantage of that last corner and that last lap.
Moving him out of the way, what was the talk like? It seems like Alex Bowman was very cool with it, like just a racing thing. It wasn't anything overly egregious, but with this whole storyline, I don't think there are a lot of drivers who would do as good of a job as you've been doing pushing this bracket challenge. I think you've been very good for the sport and for this bracket challenge, more particularly with the way that you've been handling it with the shit talking and all that kind of stuff. We eat it up. People who have to talk about NASCAR every week eat it up. So, like, seeing you make the move on to Alex at the end of the race, that got me all fucking excited. I was like, yeah, so like to your point, we're paying attention beyond SVG being 16 seconds out in front. There's only so much glazing I could do with that fucking guy. So how did Alex feel when you guys were talking after the race? And then we're going to get into some of the shit talking that you can or can't do with John Hunter going into next week.
Yeah. Alex was cool. I think he understood it, right? Like, I came up to him after, was like, hey man, I had to do it. It's $4 million. If it wasn't for $1 million, I wouldn't have knocked you out of the way for 17th, but I hope you understand. And he got it. He was cool, which I really appreciate. And I feel like along the way, everybody's kind of understood. But for me, like, I played all kinds of different sports growing up, and I'm obsessed with sports and, the good guys that make the most of sports. I grew up as a grandson of an owner of the sport, so I have a different perspective. I realize we are hardworking drivers, that we do a lot, but most of the drivers put so much on themselves that their interviews are shitty because they're so focused on their own world. But we are also entertainers. Most of what we do is entertain our fans, and we are a sport that relies on our fandom. So when opportunity arises, it's good to show your personality, show who you are, and you got to have a good team behind you. If you don't feel like you have sponsors that support you to be you, if you don't feel like you have a team that supports you being you, you don't get to show your personality. And that's all aligned for me this year with College Racing and our partners. But that's kind of my personality. Like, if I'm on the basketball court, I'm not the best basketball player, but I'm going to talk trash and try to get in your head the whole time. And I'm going to try to take advantage of that. And I love it. And it's fun for me. And I honestly got to throw it back to like Denny versus the world thing where he's leaned into it and all these fans are mad at him. That's what started it for me to be able to say, to lean into what I am as a personality. And, hey, I want to fight back a little bit. I'm not afraid to spar in a war of words, but on good terms. So Denny started it. I feel like NASCAR has given us the platform, and I've just been being me out there and leaning into this thing and having a blast with it.
So what can we expect for you going head-to-head with John Hunter this weekend at Dover? How does that track play into your skill set? And then looking past that, if you should make it to the finals, you feel better about going up against Ty Gibbs or Tyler Reddick?
I feel good about anybody. I feel like we've slayed some giants already. So, the bigger they get, the harder they fall. And I'm looking forward to that opportunity.
Yeah.
So, we got to get through Dover first. And honestly, it's like one of the things that I feel like we've done good, and it really lines up with other football philosophies. I listen to coaches in national championships or big games or moments that matter, and they talk about how a lot of other teams will change their philosophy. Our team hasn't. We really haven't talked about the in-season tournament pre-race or during the week or how we're going to beat that one other car. We've just really honed in and narrowed our focus on doing our job, do what we can do as far as executing our races. And when the opportunity arises, we all know in the back of our head we're going to do what it takes. And I think I was able to show my guys last week, I'm going to do what it takes to get us to that next round. My crew chief's going to make the right call to help me out. I believe in him 100%. So we're going to keep being us, and that's put enough pressure on everybody else to make mistakes and give us the opportunities to excel. So that's what I'm going to do next week in Dover, and hopefully, push John Hunter to the brink.
And John Hunter is very friendly with us as well. I think he's in the Chicago office with us next week, right, Spider?
Yes, sir.
Yes, we'll be able to follow up with him. I know when you said thank you to Henrik's PR department and let them know the glass slipper fit one last time, and then John Hunter came back with keyword last. I love that drawing because it's playful and whatnot, and people hang on what your comments are going to be. Like, I'm in a basketball city, and I'm going up against Brad. You know what I mean? I just beat your favorite driver if it's Denny Hamlin. Would you mind if I threw a couple out there for you and then you can use them or maybe not? Spider, you let me know which one you think fits the best.
Gotcha.
But when Ty Dillon pops out of the car, takes the window net down, and somebody puts a fucking a microphone in his face, you think he should go with John Hunter will never see that check? That's not bad, right?
I kind of like that.
John Hunter will never see that check for $1 million, or John Hunting for second place. That's not bad, right?
What about John
right.
Hunter Nemechek?
I think we're stretching a little bit.
How about this?
I think there's a little bit there too.
I got a third one. Fitting we're at Dover because I'm about to bend you, Dover, and fuck you out of $1 million. That one's a little bit dicey as far as the sponsors might go. But can you build off any of those?
I think that last one's gonna get me not showing up to Indy for the $1 million. That might get that one might be a little much, but I like the first one because it can go two ways. He's on the shorter side, so I don't know if he can see up to the check. But we'll see, man. Everything has come kind of naturally. Alex was asking me before the race in Sonoma, literally at driver intros, what do you have for me? I know you got something. I know you've been working on something. I'm like, I don't, dude. I don't have anything. Like, the only thing I felt like was a little probably too far out. And I don't want to look like an idiot out there. If you're continuing to do something, you can burn things into the ground. It's just got to come natural. But their PR team just put one on a tee for me to knock it out. So I got a feeling something will come up, but I got to get the job done first before we throw it out there. So I'll be ready, but just waiting for that right piece of material to hit the home run again.
But keep that first one in your back pocket because I think that's gold, personally.
I will.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
What do you got, Spider?
Yeah. Well,
So so far, obviously you've had a pretty fruitful NASCAR career. You're no rookie to doing this. You've been in the sport a long time. Is there one moment that you're most proud of so far to date in your racing career? How does this success in the in-season tournament fall in line with that? And how much would a win change things? Would that instantly become the thing you're most proud of if you were to win the tournament?
Yeah, that would definitely probably. Yeah, it would probably become one of the things I'm most proud of for sure. Just the way that we've done it and kind of gone about it, and the fun that we're having along the ride here. But right now in my career, my biggest win actually coincides with the in-season tournament. I won at Indianapolis Motor Speedway in the Xfinity Series, and back in that day, all the number one guys were in it. Kyle Busch and I started on the front row. The last restart, I was able to beat him straight up, and not only him, but there was probably 13 other of the top Cup guys in that race. So, that was one of the biggest moments for me, getting to kiss the bricks there. It's cool that it lines up in a couple of weeks to maybe in this thing out there. But this would be one of the biggest stories of my career, mainly because I'm just having so much freaking fun with it. And it's been so cool. And the recognition, not only myself, but our team is getting through this and our sponsors. So, man, if we can just keep the good times rolling, get it done this weekend, Indy's going to be a good one.
I'm going to ask you a question that we've been throwing around and NASCAR has been banding about all week. What's the right number of road courses for you in a year for, just from a driver's perspective? Because we all have our own ideas. But for Ty Dillon, what's the right number of road courses?
The number we have, minus having Chicago, that place has beaten me up the last couple of times there, and that's just a personal thing. I enjoy the road course race, and it's fun for me. Chicago's been the one that's been the roughest. But, I like the mixture of races. I just think we got to get competitive with our racetracks. If fans aren't showing up, if we're not putting on a good show, the surface isn't good enough, and we're having things, there should be tracks that are in the waiting that should get opportunities. It should be just as competitive to get a NASCAR race as it is for us drivers on track. And that's only going to keep the sport growing and healthy. And I love that we're moving to new places and we're kind of doing some of that. So we'll see what the future holds.
So let me ask you this then. If it were up to you to add one, let's say we're removing Chicago street race, what are you going to replace it with? It could be an oval, it could be a road course, it could be whatever you want. Any track, it could be one you race at or one that you don't and you want to.
I would move on an oval. I'd move North Wilkesboro to a points paying race. There's a lot of rumblings about that, but I'd also, if it was a road course, a place that we haven't gone to, Laguna Seca, that would be kind of an all-time place for me. But those are two that I'd love to see on our schedule.
Have you given any thought on how long you want to drive for? Currently 33 years old. Like I said, you've been in the sport a while now. And I guess, is there post-race plans you have when your time is done? Is there a succession plan for RCR? Maybe you and Austin will step into the management there and help the team continue to kind of grow and build? Or have you given any thought to that?
Yeah, I think my focus is in two spots, honestly, right now, kind of here in the now and doing the best I can with college racing and hoping that we continue to have success and progress the way that we have from the start of this year to where we are now. I think another step of progression is necessary. And then hopefully, we continue the relationship. And as long as I feel like I can be competitive and run up front and bring something to the team, I want to be able to race cars and be a driver in the Cup Series. But there is that next step of life. And my brother and I both have been getting more involved in the behind the scenes and the office work of RCR and kind of learning that business with our grandfather. So that's been a fun step. But I think both of us are on the same page. We still want to be drivers first right now, but that is something, that we look at in the future. Him and I are both passionate about this sport. We see it from a larger perspective than just being drivers. I think that's helped us in our career, but it's also going to help us in the second level of what's coming.
How much of an advantage is it having a sibling in the field? And follow up, who do you think the best siblings across any sports, racing or non-racing, are?
It's awesome having a brother. He was 2 years older than me, so not only like his good days, but his bad days I probably learned the most from. The mistakes that he's made the 2 years ahead of me and along the journey, I probably learned more from, even though that's a weird thing to say, but it's been valuable. But also growing up in a family that's in racing, you learn so much. You get to see a lot of different things. Brothers in sports, man, there's so many good combos. I'm just grateful that him and I have been able to make over 250 Cup starts together. That's an accomplishment we'll look back at. And if we're both back next season, we'll cross the 300 mark of being in the Cup Series, 300 races together, which is a big deal for us. But anytime you see brothers, whether it's hockey, you got the Stahl brothers who we like because we're Carolina guys, and you got the Ball brothers, the Charlotte Hornets. the Chicago Bulls and even LeAngelo there for a little bit. But we always pull for brothers because we know what that's like. And, there's so many more great ones, but we pull for the ones that are on our favorite teams.
And so is it, with this whole bracket challenge, is it safe to say that you have head-to-head drawing with your brother then for about 250 races anyway, right? Like, isn't there a natural kind of competition built into that?
Yeah. I've been living this life since I came out the womb. We've been competing on every single thing we do. So, like, there hasn't been a race where I haven't been in a head-to-head challenge. So, maybe it's just a natural fit for that.
Spider, I'm going to ask you a question because he's talking about being competitive with his brother out of the womb. If you happen to sit down at Childress Vineyards in Lexington, North Carolina, Spider, and you saw on the menu a fried chicken sandwich, fried chicken romaine, tomato, onion, pickle, and mayonnaise, or a bourbon barbecue bacon burger with cheddar cheese, crispy bacon, bourbon barbecue sauce, crispy onions, romaine on garlic toast, which one of those two sandwiches would you choose, Spider?
I mean, this isn't even close for me. It's got to be
not even fucking close, right?
I think we're on the same page here. Yeah. It's got to be the burger, right?
It's got to be. So that's Ty's bourbon barbecue bacon burger versus Austin's fried chicken sandwich. You fucking smoke him 7 days a week on that fucking thing. Am I wrong?
We're going to have to get down there and try it for ourselves, Larch.
For sure. I appreciate the shout out to Childress Vineyards, and yeah, it is the number one thing on the menu, of course. So not only do we know how to get it done on the racetrack, but we can get it done on the menu too.
I love that.
Would you do us a favor, because we have to preview the tracks that you guys are going to the following week? Can you just break down what you're expecting at Dover from a driver's perspective, so the people who are sitting on their couch can kind of understand why the Monster Mile can be so difficult?
Yeah, for me, opportunities are slim at Dover. So qualifying matters, execution on pit road. It's a pit road that there's a lot of issues on constantly, whether it's speeding or getting in and out of your pit stall. It is very hard to pass. I think the thing we'll look for as drivers, if it's hot enough and the groove widens out, you see the rubber laid down wide enough, they'll open up some lanes. If the weather's cool and we have some overcast, it's going to be really hard to pass. So that's the only thing you get into with Dover, is it can be kind of hit or miss as far as the opportunities to get out there and pass. And so no matter what, you want to have that upfront speed to start up front.
Last thing I got for you, Ty, if there were any changes to be made to the in-season tournament, what would they be for next year from a driver's perspective? I know there was some discussion about Atlanta maybe not being the best place to start this. It seemingly worked out in your favor. So would there be any changes if it were up to you, if this were to be revisited in future years?
I wouldn't change anything as long as they take Chicago off the schedule. If you look at it, man, if Atlanta wasn't the first race, maybe we beat it. Maybe we beat Danny if it's a different track. But look at the storylines that have come from it. I don't think you have near the interest and excitement about this if you don't have a 32 seed and a 14 seed at the end of this thing looking like a chance to go up for $1 million. So you got to keep it the way it is. And no one wants to see 4 number 1 seeds. We talk about them enough, and they don't give us any good material as it is now. So let's let the guys that want it have a little bit of something through the middle of the season.
Amen.
I just got a text from John Hunter Nemechek saying the most you can hope for is a Ty Dillon. Holy shit, that's not bad either. So he got you there.
He must have got that one from his daughter. I mean, she's a sweetheart. His daughter and my son are best friends in preschool. So yeah, that must have come from Aspen. He's gonna have to keep working.
Yeah, because he's not that bright. All right, so this is Ty Dillon. Ty, it was a pleasure having you on. Just so you know, we're all glued to the TV, and everyone's rooting for you to win the Millie. Best of luck to you in Dover, and then best of luck to you bringing home the big check the following week. This was Ty Dillon, everybody. Thanks for coming on. All right, so Ty Dillon is the guy. I like him. I think that might have been the first time that we spoke to him here. We spoke to him multiple times at the track. Spider, you didn't like any of those John Hunter will never see that check? I thought that was
great. That was great. I just thought the one John Hunter needs to wreck or something like that would be pretty good too.
Yeah.
Whatever I said.
Yeah. I shouldn't have said the bend over one, right? I mean, did I?
No, that one was cherry on top.
Was
I
it?
thought that was great. Yeah.
I'm about to bend you Dover and fuck you out of $1 million. I don't know. Whatever. But thank you so much, Ty, for carving out some time to talk to us. Let's talk about Dover. There's no trucks again this week. Come back next week in Indy.
Crazy.
Xfinity on Saturday with the I want to be in that reality show because that's a great fucking schedule.
Does the truck series still like? Come on, bring it back.
Are they running the same number of races they normally do?
I don't know.
I think so.
I'm looking at the schedule right now.
It seems like this
they
has
took a
been
month
the longest hiatus I can remember.
June 28th was the last race, and their next race is July 25th. A month with no racing for no reason.
No reason.
There's nothing in the way.
June into July. It's not, it's July 4th, the month. You know what I mean? They're like, yeah,
crazy.
We didn't get.
And then when they come back, they take a week off after.
It's crazy. Good for them, though. Honestly, great. It's great for them. I shouldn't shit on them. Xfinity is back on Saturday with Bet Rivers 200 starting at 4:30 p.m. Denny Hamlin will be on the call in the booth with Adam Alexander for the CW. How do we think Denny does? So it's been a couple of years since Denny has done some color. Joey has been doing it every now and again. I kind of like Joey Logano in the booth.
Joey does a good job.
Yeah. Denny has a lot of fucking balls in the air. I mean, Tyler Reddick's about to become a free agent if you listen to some people, and he obviously does have all this shit while he's doing all, and a newborn. How do you think Denny's going to do in this one? Because I think it's going to be different than anything he's done in the past.
I'm excited to listen to this. I think it'll be great. You hear on Actions Detrimental, Denny will sound his opinion, and he speaks loudly and confidently about the way he feels on certain things. So I think having a guy like that in the booth that doesn't really kind of have the same restraint that a lot of these other people do,
right,
will be a welcome addition. A lot of these guys go in and they're like, walking on thin ice or treading water, trying to make sure they keep it professional and say the right things. Denny's really kind of never really seemingly prioritized that. Not to say he's out here like saying some crazy shit, but you know what I mean? He lets it fly more than a lot of these guys who are just thanks to my sponsor, etc. So I'm excited. Yeah, I think it will be great.
Denny's going to be Denny. And if you did like a Jeff Gluck poll that says, how did Denny do on the call? And if it's love it and hate it, it would probably be 50-50 vote. Like a lot of people will love him. A lot of people will be like, I can't stand Denny. He's full of himself, blah, blah, blah. But yeah, I think it's going to go pretty much how you expect it. He's going to say some things that are strongly opinionated. He's going to give some really cool insight on some stuff. He's going to talk about himself, and people will either love it or hate it.
Yeah, I think he's got to tread lightly. We talk about the eggshells thing that Denny normally doesn't walk on. He's probably our best guess because he's the best for any kind of sound bites that we need. But he does have to tread lightly because there's some legality involved here too. Like he can't say, oh my God, he just got sent into the fucking wall the same way NASCAR is sending us into the wall when they're taking away our charters. I would expect nothing like that. But I'm really looking forward to it. So tune into that on the CW. Again, it's on Saturday starting at 4:30 p.m. That's the Xfinity race. Raja Karuth is making his Xfinity debut in the number 32 for Jordan Anderson. And then Ross is the only Cup driver pulling double duty in Dover. He's wheeling the 9 for JR Motorsports. And then finally back to ovals for the Cup on Sunday with the Auto Trader Echo Park Automotive 400, contested over 400 laps on the Monster Mile Concrete Oval with a terrible fucking trophy at the end. It will be the 21st race of the season, and live coverage starts at 2 p.m. Eastern Time on Sunday on TNT. So catch the action on TV or feel the thrill in person. Secure your NASCAR seat today at NASCAR.com and feel the excitement. Did anybody agree with me when I said it was one of the worst trophies, or I was alone on that one, right?
No, I kind of like it. I like the fact that, they put the winning car in I think his name's Miles, right?
Yeah.
In his hand. Like, that's a unique touch. I do think it's a competitive game when it comes to NASCAR trophies. There's so many cool ones. And I also saw the company that makes the Martinsville grandfather clocks is closing down. So hopefully that tradition does not go away. But I mean, it's a competitive thing. Like I said, there's so many good ones in the sport already that it's tough to like kind of rank this one in. But I do think it has a unique place in the sport, given that it kind of includes the winning race car.
The worst of Chicago.
The Chicago looks like an exhaust or a catalytic converter that just got ran over.
I didn't even see that.
It's terrible.
Oh, the Chicago one is so. I thought it was a temporary trophy they were going to use for the first year because they like forgot to make one, and they still were using it 3 years later. I think the thing with Dover's trophy is if this was a trophy that they've never ran before and they released it this year, everybody would be like, "What the fuck is this?" The
Yeah.
fact that it's been around for a while and it's kind of goofy, I like it. Like it has a little tradition behind it. I think it's pretty cool.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I feel Spider, you're right, because I didn't know right away that they did wait till the diecast came out and then they put your official diecast in Miles the Monster's hand. I think that's a
Yeah.
cool little thing, but I still think it's fucking stupid to have the dude from Fantastic
Yeah, I mean, I
Four.
see both ways. I think it's kind of cool having like a little mascot for the track, and I think it plays.
Cool. Alrighty, so let's pick some winners. Picking the Tires brought to you by DraftKings. All right, folks, something special about to happen in the Big Easy. UFC 318 is coming to New Orleans. It's absolutely stacked, and DraftKings Sportsbook, the official sports betting partner of the UFC, has all the action you need. We're talking Holloway versus Poirier Part 3, the trilogy. The BMF title's on the line, but more than that, this is Dustin Poirier's last fight. That's it, the final walk. One of the all-time greats. You taking Holloway's volume or Poirier's power? If you've never bet UFC with DraftKings, don't worry. Just pick something simple like a fighter to win and make your pick. That's it. Straightforward and easy. And check this out. New customers who bet just $5 get $150 in bonus bets instantly. That's a huge boost to get started. Do not miss Poirier's final fight. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app right now and use code Rubbin. That's code Rubbin. For new customers, get $150 in bonus bets instantly when you bet just $5. Only on DraftKings. The crown is yours. Do you guys mind if I go first?
Go ahead.
Go
Do you
for
have
it.
anything?
Yeah,
Top
I got
10. Top 10. The first person who's in the money plus money is Joey Logano. I'm going to jump on it if that's cool with you guys. I'm taking Joey Logano even money for a top 10. I'm taking Kyle Busch head to head with Ross Chastain, also even money. Kyle Busch versus Ross Chastain in a head to head. I'm taking Ford as the winning manufacturer. No, I'm not. Ford last week, right before the race, I'd seen Ford was plus 650 as the winning manufacturer with just 3 manufacturers out there. It just seemed a little bit off. So I was going to pounce on it. I think I'm seeing that again this week where it's like almost plus 400. So I'm leaning towards maybe taking Ford, but I want you guys to either talk me out of it or talk me into it. Should I take Ford? It's really no reason, right?
It's plus 500.
Yeah.
All right, so I'm putting Ford back on my ticket.
Yeah,
Fuck
keep it on there.
Yeah, and
Go
then
with your gut.
so I got Joey top 10. I got Ford. I got Kyle head to head versus Ross, and that's it for me. Oh no, hold on a sec. I added a NASCAR Cup Series champion bet to my ticket over the weekend. And can you guess who I took? Shane Van Gisbergen at plus 4,000. I can't fucking help it to think that this guy wins fucking Watkins Glen, makes a run, survives even in Phoenix, just wins the whole goddamn thing. And if he does, I better make some money off it. So I threw a couple of shekels down on SVG, maybe for the Martin Truex curse. I don't know. But I guarantee he wins the championship this year. You know what I'm saying, Spider?
I love it. I honestly love that bet. All right, I'll go next, I guess. I'm intrigued by Denny. I think Denny would be a good pick here. He's 5-1. He's been good here before. In his last 3 races here, he does have 1 win, 2 top 5s. He's led over 200 laps. Intrigued by him. So I'm going to add him to my card outright. I also have both Chases to win the race.
Oh, really?
I got Chase Elliott, who I think has historically been good here. He's got an average finishing position of 5.7, which is second amongst active drivers. He also has a win here over the course of his last 3 races, 2 top 5s, and 73 laps led. So Chase Elliott, and then Chase Briscoe, simply for the reason he's been running really well. I think he's found his groove dating back to, I don't even know when, I think it was like, in Mexico? I think he turned some heads. So he's been surprising me ever since. He's been, 7th at Mexico. Then he won the next week at Pocono. I feel like he's kind of found his stride since then. So I'm intrigued by Chase Briscoe. I also think there's something to be said about the fact, again, Quigs and I always use this driveraverages.com site. The number 1 driver in average finishing position here is Martin Truex Jr.
I was actually going to bring that up.
He's got a 5.3 average finish.
I don't think I appreciated Martin Truex enough when he raced. he's at the top of
Every
every
list.
track.
Yep.
Every one of them.
Every one of them. He is like number one average finish at this track, and I'm like,
Yeah,
I don't know if I appreciate how good he was when he was
Because
racing.
we started the show when he had that winless season, right? Like
Mhm.
that, in earnest, we had that. So we didn't really get to see that great. We saw him at the end where we really were paying attention. But same thing. Every time I look up history on these tracks or on these races, it's Marty, not just on Mondays, it's all over the fucking
Yeah.
Yep,
place.
doesn't
Yeah.
matter what type of track, and
Yeah.
he's
So
always up there.
I love Briscoe. He's 16-1 on DraftKings right now, coming
Okay.
off a shit ton of momentum. I think that's a very fair price. And then I'm also parlaying that. I'm not actually parlaying it, but in my brain,
Can't use that term.
I love the idea of the fact that he's now driving Truex's car, who's proven that to be pretty strong here himself. So for those two reasons, I'm going to add Chase Briscoe to my outright winners as well. So I got Denny 5-1, Chase Elliott 10-1, Chase Briscoe 16-1. But I'm not done with that. I'm not done just there.
Let's go.
I got Josh Berry for a top 10, 2-1. I think he's been strong at this track. And then also, I'm taking the guys I said I was in the in-season tournament. John Hunter Nemechek, -130 over Ty Dillon, and Ty Gibbs, +110 over Tyler Reddick.
Cool.
Alrighty. Money way about this.
I'm taking Denny with you.
Love it.
But I think this is a pretty wide open field. A lot of guys could win here. And honestly, my best picks this year have just been kind of gut feeling guys I think are gonna have a day. And I'm taking Christopher Bell +1,000.
Okay.
He's got 2 top 10s and a top 5 in his last 3 here. And I don't know, he had a good race this weekend. I think we get a win out of him, and I like him at +1,000. And that's all I got.
All right, cool. So those are the bets for this weekend. Spider, you're going to be doing a pick six. So Spider, if you follow us on social media, Rubbin is Racing or our personal accounts, Spider, you doing a pick six again this week?
Yeah, I'm gonna have a pick six, probably coupled this weekend because I've been a little bit cold on the pick six front on the NASCAR side of things. So hopefully this week we can right the ship. But yeah, it's all going down. Pick six is a DraftKings associated fantasy app where you can pick finishing position, better, worse. You can pick laps led. One of the easiest legs I hit this week was SVG to lead like 36 laps or something like that, and he hit within the first 40 laps. So unfortunately, the other picks I made did not hit, so I didn't win anything on that lineup, but they have a lot of good stuff between fantasy points, finishing position, laps led, fastest laps, etc. And if you sign up with the link in my Twitter bio, you can get $50 in credits after your first $5 wager. So I implore everyone to check out Pick Six. Even if you're not in a state where DraftKings is live, or if you're not 21 years old, you only have to be 18. So download Pick Six, tell them Spider sent you, and send me your lineup.
Yeah, perfect. And he had mentioned at the top of the show, we do have a vlog out from a Mexico City trip. I'm not able to watch it because I got PTSD from what it did to my asshole, but it's a real fun one. I did watch through it. So we had a lot of fun down there and a lot of interaction on the track and off. So check that out. It's also on our social pages. And that's it. If nobody else has anything else to say, we will talk to you guys after this week. And thank you so much for tuning into Rubbin is Racing.
John Hunter next week. Frankie Muniz is still coming on the show. We're just kind of working through it. So I appreciate everyone's patience.
Yeah, that's a tough one. All righty. I'll talk to you guys later.
See ya.